Shalom, 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 shalom. First, I want to give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Prokar Kadash, and double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who are leading this word in truth and spirit and sincerity. And salutations to my fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers who have been preaching and teaching this word in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who have been leading this word in truth and in spirit and in sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect men and women of the house of Israel. Shalom, shalom, shalom. As you can see, today's edification is called Saudis are worshipping the image of the beast. Saudis are worshipping the image of the beast. Now, when we can see now that the image of the beast, and this is part of the image of the beast we're going to show you that the Saudis are worshipping, because the image of the beast, it's its philosophies, it's its way of life, it's Babylon, America, Esau's way of life, as you know. The image of the beast is not hegemony. It is the way of life. It's his wine, it's his philosophies, it's his love for homosexuality, it's his music industry, part of his image. It's his white Christianity, white supremacy Christianity, which is part of the image of the beast. It's his financial systems, which is part of the image of the beast. It's his political systems, his two-party system. You know, goes all the way back to the Romans, the plebeians and the patricians. Today they call it the Democrats and the Republics, or the Labour or Conservative. These are all parts of the image of the beast. This all makes up, it's his whole philosophy and way of life, and his politics is the image of the beast. The beast is who? The beast is the European Union and NATO. It's the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. America is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire, because those Edomites in America come from Europe. They are Europeans, just for lack of a better word. So this is the fourth beast. This is the image of the beast. So I'm going to show you something here, right? This is Saudi Arabia, probably considered the most conservative country in the world. The most conservative country in the world. And let me show you that they are now fully engulfed in the image of the beast. Now this is a rave. As you can see, it's called the MDL Beast. MDL Beast. And I believe the MDL I think it means the Middle East they're talking about, or what's his name? MB. I'm trying to think of that prince in Saudi Arabia, the crown prince, I don't think it's his initials. All right? I don't think it's his. I think his initials are different. I think they call him NB or something else. I think they call him, right? I think he's got MBS they call him, that's right. Mohammed bin Salam, MBS. He's called MBS. So this NDL is an abbreviation for the Middle East, right? And this actual rave, this party that they're keeping in Saudi Arabia, this massive outdoor rave in the most conservative country in the world, they actually called it MDL Beast. I thought, how ironic, they actually called this rave. It's a 5-day rave, right, in Saudi Arabia called MDL Beast. The Saudi rave pushing boundaries of a changing kingdom. Everyone's coming under the order of the image of the beast, which is his philosophies, his way of life, his political ways of Esau, Edom, America, the Europeans, which is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. So, without further ado, have a look at this and you tell me, you be the jury.
In Saudi Arabia, and I'm about to head into what is basically a gigantic rave in the desert. It's called Middle Beast. It's a 4-day electronic music festival that Saudi Arabia is hosting, and it's not only officially sanctioned by the government, it's actually a key part of the Crown Prince's plans to both expand entertainment options and bring in foreign tourists, and of course to boost Saudi Arabia's soft power. So this event is honestly huge. Last night was the first night, and according to organizers, over 180,000 people attended. So if that's true, that would make it essentially bigger than the single-day attendance for a festival like Coachella. The headliners include sort of all the international artists that you might expect to see at an electronic music festival anywhere else in the world. There's David Guetta, there's Tiesto, Steve Aoki, and some Middle Eastern and Saudi artists as well.
Representation is important. It feels so different when you look up at the stage and you see people that look like you playing to you.
Yeah.
And for me, that was on the first Middle Beast. After every set, I would go back and cry.
والله الشيء يعني شيء حلو. فترة يعني كان ما في شيء حرفيا. الآن كل شيء موجود يعني ما يحتاج إن نطلع برا ونحضر أشياء مثل هذه. صارت موجودة هنا صاروا الناس يجون الحين.
Did you ever imagine that you would like see something like this in your country?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Because I understood that we are a developing country. You know, so we have to go through phases. Allow us progress. Allow us to represent ourselves in the way that we feel fit. We are very eager to be part of the international community, but we can't be stifled every time we try to make progress.
It's honestly really difficult to fathom how much Saudi Arabia has changed over the past 5 years. So I moved here in 2015, and it was really one of the most conservative and restrictive countries in the world at the time. Women couldn't drive. There was a huge amount of gender segregation that was very strictly enforced by religious police who would kind of roam the streets, shouting at women like me to cover their hair or to wear, you know, all black instead of colors. And from that kind of environment, the Crown Prince has instituted a series of enormous social policy changes that have really, along with a lot of bottom-up movements, changed kind of the way that the kingdom is, you know, what it's like to be here, what it's like to live here, what it's like to be a Saudi. So to see, you know, men and women dancing side by side, to see music in public in a country where there was almost no music in public just a few years ago, you know, is really something unprecedented.
وكنت تتوقع يعني قبل 5 سنوات مثلا تشوفي شيء؟
لا طبعا مستحيل كان، بس اللي حاصل صراحة شيء خارج الخيال يعني.
One of the other things that's also really interesting about this festival is we tend to see some degree of open kind of display of queer culture, which is very unusual here because, again, homosexuality is illegal and very much a taboo.
Did you hear that? Queer culture, homosexuality is prevalent, moving about in that big rave in Saudi Arabia. Saudis are now officially worshipping the image of the beast. They're using parts of the beast system. When they floated their company, the oil company, on the stock market, Aramco, when they floated Aramco, their oil industry business, on the stock market, they started to use parts of the image of the beast. Now, as you can see, they are officially worshipping the image of the beast. They know homosexuality is illegal and very much taboo, like she says, in Saudi Arabia. But in this rave, it's open. You can be queer, you can come, and you can rave. This is what the image of the beast is. This is what you must understand, family. Listen to what she says. I'm going to reverse, just run that little bit part there again. Listen to what she says. This is Saudi Arabia, remember. This is the most conservative country in the world. We're nearly there, fam. We're nearly there. You saw it's got them all
One of the other things that's also really interesting about this festival is we tend to see some degree of open kind of display of queer culture, which is very unusual here because, again, homosexuality is illegal and very much a taboo. And it's almost like this carnival atmosphere of the festival brings that out. Of course, this is absolutely not without controversy of many different kinds. I mean, first of all, many Saudis are not happy with these kinds of changes, though many are as well. And there is, as you can see by the number of people who are attending, there is a lot of support for events like this, but some people don't feel comfortable with it. They feel like it's a violation of their traditions and their religion. However, there's almost no open expression of those kinds of views because there's been, alongside the social opening that the Crown Prince has been implementing, a massive political crackdown. And so it's very little space to express dissenting views in Saudi Arabia of today. That is part of the reason why a lot of the influencers and models who attend festivals like this get a lot of backlash.
So it's 1 a.m. and I'm heading out. That was a pretty crazy party. One of the things that's kind of interesting is that even though alcohol and of course any kind of drugs are still very much illegal here, there were a lot of people who were, pretty visibly inebriated. You can smell it.
Isn't that part of the image of the beast? Alcohol, drugs. These are all parts of the image of the beast. Just so you can understand.
Marijuana in some places, so definitely this is the kind of event where things really get taken to the edge of the possibility of what could be in the new Saudi Arabia. Though it was pretty heavily male. There were definitely women, but I'd say, definitely a vast majority of the people who were attending were male, which makes sense in a society that is still in a lot of ways quite conservative, and also a lot of women don't necessarily feel comfortable in a space like that. That's pretty rowdy, pretty heavily male, in a society where people are still kind of getting used to even the idea of gender mixing. It's still pretty new. So it is just a really kind of rapid and deep-seated transformation.
You still got them, boy. I remember this concert is called MDL Beast. How ironic. This rave is called, a 5-day rave is called MDL Beast. The Saudis rave pushing boundaries of a changing kingdom. They've got to be the last piece of the puzzle to them to get on board to worship them to the beast. It's got to be Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia is the most conservative country in the world. So there's got to be the last piece of the puzzle for the beast, right? For Babylon the Great. That's got to be their last piece of their puzzle to get them in line, the Saudis. So check this out, because what I really wanted to show you was the differences, right? This is Saudi Arabia. Life in Saudi, can you see that? Life in Saudi 1996, which is roughly 25 years ago, right? Life in Saudi in 1996. I was going to play a little bit of this video, all right, to show you life in Saudi. It's what it is now. How about that? This is 1996. Bedouin living their Bedouin lives. The beast has got you, Saudis. They finally got you. They got you on board. Fully signed up members. Bedouin. Just so you understand. Absolutely, brother. He has got them. Shalom to the Akiyams in the comment board. He's absolutely right. He has got them. 100% he's got them. Yeah. But you see, this is what we want, because this is, for me, like the final part of the puzzle, you know? They're on board now. They've got the Saudis on board. This Bedouin life is going out the window. Sheep and cattle and the tents that they're in now, they're rave tents. It's rave tents. That's what they're in now. So you understand? Yeah. Well, I'm sure you get the message, right? I'm sure you can see what it is where we get into. So yes, the Saudis are worshiping the image of the beast. They're fully on board. And it's a beautiful thing to see because in a sense, it's the last piece of the puzzle for E to get these countries in line, right? Because all of these things have to come to pass. So let's do what we do best. Let's bring out some scriptures. Yeah, they're worshiping the image of the beast, boy. It's absolutely beautiful. Let's go. Let's start with Revelation 13. This is the fourth beast. The beast from the sea. This is the reincarnation. The beast from the earth. This is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. We're going to read a few verses and we're going to just pull out scriptures as we go along. It says, and I beheld, and another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. The other beast that's coming out of the earth, that's the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. Talking about America, all right? That's the main reincarnation of the Roman Empire is America. Europe is based on the same system. The European Union is based on the same system. That's what we're talking about. Its military arm of the beast is NATO. America is the head of NATO. And he had two horns like a lamb. The two horns represent the two political party systems that we have. Democrats and Republicans. And that goes all the way back to the what they call them, the plebeians, they call them the plebeians and the patricians. That's what they were called. Goes all the way back to the Roman citizens. They were divided into two like district classes. You had the plebeians and you had the patricians. The patricians were the wealthier upper class people, which you would call the conservatives today. In England, we call them the conservatives. In America, you would call them the Republicans. That's who the patricians would be. And everyone else was considered a plebeian. It's funny because we use that term in England. It's like a slang. We shorten the word plebeian, we call them a pleb. It's a Cockney term in England. We say, oh, look at that pleb, which means he's a commoner. Because the plebeians were considered like the normal, the working class, the white collar workers. That's what they were considered, the plebeians. So in England, we have a Cockney term that we would say, if we want to kind of like, if we want to look at someone, look down on someone, say, oh, he's behaving like a pleb, like a commoner, like a working class. He was never taught any manners, and because they look at the working class and the commoners as people that don't have any etiquette. So we actually use that term in England. It comes from the word plebeian, and it's just a Cockney term. We say pleb, P-L-E-B. And that's where it comes from. It comes from the word plebeians, which goes back to the two-party systems that the Romans had. So the patricians, they were like the ruling class of the Roman Empire. And there were certain families that were part of the patrician class. And you had to be born a patrician. So in a sense, the patricians are the elites, but they are the elites of today. But if we look at the two parties, the ones that look at themselves as the elitist party would be the Republicans or the Conservatives, where the working class political party would be the Labour Party. In England, we call it the Labour Party. In America, you call it the Democrats. So, it's it goes back to that system there that we have today. All the way back to that system. So when the scripture says, and he had two horns like a lamb, the two horns is symbolic for the two-party system. The lamb, because the lamb is nice and gentle. That's what they use to draw you in. They say to you, you've got to vote. That's why it says it's like a lamb. They say, oh, you've got to vote. Just vote. If you don't like what we're doing, just vote us out. At least we've got democracy. You know, you can vote us in, you can vote us out. That's like the sly of the tongue. That's what they use to make you believe that you have some say in this system that we live under today, under this image of the beast system. Because just like it says here, and he spake as a dragon. This is talking about America, spoke as a dragon. And we got to remember as well that America comes out of the United Kingdom, because America was the 13 colonies, the British 13 colonies. So basically Britain gave birth to America, because that's where the 13 colonies come from. So when we talk about the in the Bible, it speaks about the daughter of Babylon, all right? The daughter of Babylon is America, the United States. That's who the daughter of Babylon is, all right? Because Britain gave birth to America. So when the scripture tells you, I'm trying to think what precept it's in. It's in Psalms 137. Psalms. I'm always moving my fingers too far. Psalms 137. So when the scripture's talking about the daughter of Babylon, it's not talking about ancient Babylon. It's talking about a place that was going to be born, that's going to be symbolically considered Babylon in the future, because it's going to have some of the same traits as ancient Babylon. Because remember, America is a mixture of ancient Babylon, the Egyptian Empire, but mainly the Roman and we could say the Greco-Roman Empire, but mainly the Roman Empire. So when we look at scriptures like this, when it says, oh, daughter of Babylon, this is talking about America. It's talking about the daughter of Babylon, because Britain, the United Kingdom, gave birth to America. America wouldn't have existed if the United Kingdom hadn't come there and colonized America and created the 13 colonies. So it says, oh, daughter of Babylon, is talking about America, who ought to be destroyed, because it will be destroyed, but it has to fulfill prophecy. It has to fulfill certain things in prophecy. One of the main prophecies is what? The MOTB, the mark of the beast, which is the microchip. Part of that is the world embracing and worshiping the image of the beast. The image of the beast ain't white Jesus, what you get some people trying to teach you, or hegemony. White Jesus is part of his image of the beast, because it's Christianity. It's used to take over many places. You go to Africa, Christianity, white Christianity, is the second biggest religion in Africa. The first is Islam. So it's used, that's part of his image, but that's not the image of the beast. The image of the beast is his whole way of life, his whole philosophy. It's everything that it does, from its music industry, for its love for homosexuality, its two-party system, political system, its financial industry with the stock markets. And do you understand what I'm saying? It's all of those things. So it says, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast rewarded us. It's another one that refers to daughter of Babylon. We go to Isaiah. I just want to show you, and I know most of you brothers know this, but we do this for edification's sake, and for some, for those that are new to this. Isaiah 47 speaks about the same thing. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. This ain't talking about ancient Babylon, what we know today as Iraq. It's talking about America. It's the daughter of Babylon, symbolic. It was given birth. Britain gave birth to America. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, which are the wise men of modern Babylon, America. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. No more going to be called tender and delicate. So the image of the beast is his whole system, his whole philosophy. So what we see in Saudi Arabia, embracing the whole music scene of the Western society, embracing, just like she said, homosexuality and queer, all of that now is okay in those raves. The fact that it actually called the rave MDL Beast, which stands for the Middle East Beast, I tell you, that's so symbolic. It could have been called anything else. It could have been called MDL Saudi Rave or MDL, whatever they were. They called it the MDL Beast. You have to really think what made them name this rave in the most conservative country in the world, where homosexuals and queers are attending. They called it MDL Beast, the Saudi rave pushing boundaries. So that's like the last stronghold for the beast to conquer, is if they can conquer the most conservative country in the world, that's it, that's game over. But that's a beautiful thing for us to see. These are the signs that we look out for. There's no way the beast has got Saudi now completely. There's no way that could ever have gone on in Saudi Arabia 20, 30 years ago, even 10 years ago. Never. That's what we must understand. I showed you the Bedouin life of Saudi Arabia for you to understand this. So they're not raising sheep and goats in the desert. They're keeping these big raves where homosexuality is welcome. I tell you, the beast has got them. He has got them. So when we go back to here, this is talking about America. Come and sit down in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So let's go back to Revelation 13. So, as we said, the two horns represent America, the two party systems, the plebeians and the patricians, right? Which goes all the way back to the Romans. And he spake as a dragon. That's his power. This is why when we talk about the beast, NATO being the military arm of the beast, that's how he speaks as a dragon, because America is the head of NATO. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, which is the Roman Empire. That's the first beast before him. And causes the earth and them which dwell therein to what? To worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. So when we see this going on here, are you kidding me? This is them.
So it's Friday night in Saudi Arabia, and I'm about to head into what's basically a gigantic rave in the desert.
This is them worshiping the first beast whose deadly wound is healed.
It's called Middle East. It's a 4-day electronic music
Yeah,
festival.
it says it's called the middle. Hold on. So it was called the what? The middle Saudi Arabia EDM Festival.
It's called Middle.
It's called the Middle Beast. I tell you, boy. When they said the Lord works in strange, in mysterious ways, right? It's called the Middle Beast. I mean, say no more. I'm serious. Think about what we are seeing here, family. The most conservative country in the world, where they're beheading people in a square. You can come, the public can come and you can watch live executions in the public square in Saudi Arabia. They've got this, it's called the Middle Beast. All praises to Yahweh Shim Yahweh Shai. All praises to Yahweh Shim Yahweh Shai. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. It's called the Middle Beast. So, let's go back to the scriptures. So it says here, and he causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. And that's what we've seen. We are now seeing Saudi Arabia actively taking part in worshiping the first beast, which deadly wound was healed. The first beast is what? The Roman Empire. It's the fourth beast in the book of Daniel, chapter 7. And he does great wonders so that he that maketh fire to come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. And we have seen that with his in World War One, World War Two, the atomic bombs. We have seen what this beast has been able to do to make fire come down from the heavens. He dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. He napalmed the whole of Vietnam. He napalmed North Korea. This is what this is talking about. And he deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. In the sight of the beast. As I said, the European Union is an essential core part of the beast, the European Union. The Roman Empire. Those people in America, those Edomites in America, come from what we know today as Europe. Saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So the image to the beast. This is part of the image to the beast, what you are seeing on your screens right now. Its whole music industry is part of its image. Its love for homosexuality is part of its image. Its financial stock market system is part of its image. Its 2-party voting system, left, right, Republican, Democrat, Labour, Conservative, is part of his image. His import, export, transport, shipping business is part of his image. And NATO is the military arm of the beast. So this is them in Saudi Arabia worshipping part of the image of the beast. Never seen before. All praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, boy. I can't say it enough. Connect the dots, family. Which had a wound by a sword and did live. Which had a wound by the sword and did live. Because the Roman Empire disappeared around, and I'm talking about the Edomites' rulership of the Roman Empire, around the 1st century AD. That's when Esau no longer ruled it as the Caesars. I believe, if I'm correct, that Nerva was the first Jake, person of color, and I believe was an Israelite that ruled as a Caesar before Septimius Severus, that came about 100 years later. So he says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. That the image of the beast should both speak, listen carefully, and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Well, they are worshipping the image of the beast here in Saudi Arabia. Never I couldn't have imagined this. I could imagine the Saudis taking everything else that this beast wants to offer it, but this just tells me that Esau has got these people locked, completely locked. Let's go to, is it Revelations? It was Revelations 14 I want to go to. I tell you, it's beautiful to see that. And also part of this is going to be his mark. This mark that he's going to introduce. Remember, he's going to introduce this mark very soon. We're going to quickly go into a little bit of that. 14. See? Doom for the worshippers of the beast. This ain't talking about white Jesus. Even though white Jesus, white supremacy Christianity is part of his image. You got, I said before, some people want you to believe that the image of the beast is just white Jesus. Or some people want to believe it's just hegemony. No. Hegemony is part of it. White Jesus is part of it. Homosexuality is part of it. Its music industry is part of it. Its movie industry is part of it. It's his whole philosophy and way of life. That's what the image of the beast is. It's Esau's philosophy and Esau's outlook on the way of life and how things should be. So the new world order that he wants to introduce, the global world order, is the image of the beast. He wants to put that on you. His mark is going to be part of the image of the beast. That's going to be the mark of the image of the beast. So just like it says there, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, if any man worship the beast, this is what they're doing in the Middle East, and his image, just so you can understand, this is part of it. any man, and receive his mark. So that will be the next step. It's going to be the mark, which is the microchip, the charagma, in his forehead or in his hand. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. That's the Most High's righteous anger. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Listen, if we go to, just so you understand, when I keep on banging on about the Roman Empire, if we go to Second Ezra's, I haven't done this for a long time, boys, and it's one of my favorite two chapters, 11 and 12. I haven't done a full breakdown on this for a long time, but I know the full breakdown of Second Ezra's 11 and Second Ezra's 12. But just to show you here, this is talking about the Roman Empire. When it says, art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them. So the end of their time is going to come through this Roman Empire. This wound, this deadly wound, the end of that time is going to come through this deadly wound being healed. So when it says here, when it says here, and he exercises all the power of the first beast, talking about the actual fourth beast, before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Well, this is the deadly wound that's going to be healed. This is the deadly wound when he's been wounded, and later on, which is these times that we're living in now, is where it's been healed. The healing of that began around the 14th century, the 14th century AD. It says, art not thou it that remainest of the fourth beast? Esau, as him that remains of the four beasts, are these Edomites, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them. So this is talking about the Roman Empire, but it's speaking of there is going to be something that's going to remain of you in the future, and that's that deadly wound that's healed. And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts. So the Roman Empire overcame the three other beasts before it, that's written in the book of Daniels, that were past and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. That's what they did. The Romans overcame the three beasts before him. The Greek Empire, which is the empire that it took down. Before the Greek was the Persian and the Medes. Before the Persian and the Medes was the Neo-Babylonian Empire, or the Assyrian Empire. So let's go back. So this is what's going to happen. Because, like I said, the last step of you worshiping the image of the beast is accepting his mark. Esau wants you to accept his mark, and he's going to introduce some type of 9/11 event, boy, I believe, in my spirit, to introduce the mark on a global scale. Oh, you see what's going on right now. Revelations 15:2, same thing again. A scene of heaven. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. And I saw as it was a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast. And what? And over his image. Because ultimately, my point is here with the image, right? If you're going to take on the image and every other thing that the beast is offering you, then you're more likely, 90% chance that you will take on the beast's mark, which is the microchip. If you're happy to accept all of what he's selling you, his demonic, satanic music industry, we watch Esau's films to see his signs, right? Because we know Esau likes to show you what he's going to do in his films, his movies, and his series. So we watch those to see that. But if you're fully engulfed in, can you imagine being, there was a time I used to go to these kind of raves. I'm not going to lie to you. Before I was in the truth, back in early 2000, the late 90s, I used to be in the midst of those crowds. I'm not going to lie to you. That's why I give all the praises and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Because I haven't seen one of those places since the early 2000, late 90s. I would say the early 2000. But the last time I've seen one of those, being in the midst of one of those places, was probably around 2004, 2003. I didn't come into the truth. When I say come into, I didn't find out about it until 2008. I didn't sit down and start studying the scriptures until 2009. I didn't put up my first edifications until 2010. So I used to be in the midst of the image of the beast. So I know what's going on inside there. I'm not under any illusion what happens inside those places. It's demonic, it's satanic, and you don't know it when you're in it. But when you're out of it and you can sit back and look at it from a distance, boy, for everything I know today, I've got to give all the glory and the praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. Because I could have been just one of those average John Does still engulfed in those places. Just so you understand. Give all the glory to the Most High and to the Son Yahushai. Believe me when I tell you. So this is them in the midst of, and this is, like I said, this is just part of his image. One of these major pullers. So I go back to what I said. If you're someone, it says, and I saw it was the sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that got the victory over the beast. Those are the elect of Israel who are delivered into the chariots that are going to watch the destruction of those people that are going to receive the mark. So I can say to myself, I have gotten victory over his image. I don't take no part in Esau's image in terms of, you know, going out there voting, supporting LGBTQ or feminist BS that they like to push out there. And do you understand what I'm saying? Going to these raves and all of those sort of things. And this is the last part, and over his mark, which is going to be the hour of temptation. This is the part that I pray the Lord gives me, and I believe he will, the strength to overcome his mark. I mean, I can't ever see myself taking that mark. Put it like that. Never, 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 never. And I believe even if I wasn't in the truth, there's nothing that could tell me to put some sort of device inside me. But the fact that I know what it is beautiful. So and over his mark. So my point is, all those people seeing those raves that continue, that promote Esau's society, 9 out of 10 of them will take his mark. And over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High. Stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High. That's salvation. So we know what's going to happen to most of the people that are going to take the mark. Scripture tells you in 16:2. And the first went out. Let me start the first one. It says, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of the Most High upon the earth. And the first went out and poured out his vial upon the earth. And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. So I say again, for those that worship his image, 9 out of 10 will take his mark. That's what I truly believe. So 90% of these people will take his mark, because they can't wait to embrace the image of the beast. They couldn't wait for this Sodom and Gomorrah to reach Saudi Arabia. It's bad, but I tell you, the Lord works in mysterious ways, boy. And he's got them locked. He's got them locked. Revelations 19. I'm just kind of bringing out all the scriptures that talk about the image of the beast. That's kind of where I'm going today, just so you understand why I'm speaking on this particular. 19 verse 20. There you go. Doom of the beast and the false prophet. So the beast is who? The beast is, I say again, is NATO and the European Union, one and the same thing. America's the head of NATO. So America's who leads the charge for the image of the beast, because he's the head of NATO. And the beast was taken. He's gonna be taken. And with him, the false prophet. Vocab Malone and your mates. and your Catholic white Christianity supremacy, false prophets. And those that are worshipping Islam, false prophets as well. Those that are worshipping Buddha, false prophets. But the main false prophet is who? White Jesus, white supremacy Christianity. That's spearheaded by the Catholic Church. And with him, the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had what? That had received the mark, which is the charagma, the chip of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. Back again, because if you're probably worshipping his image, you're going to take his mark. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. We know what that is, right? That's the nuclear war, the nuclear fallout. That's the lake of fire with brimstone. That's what that is. And the other one is in Revelations 20. I'm just hitting the ones where it talks about the image of the beast. 20 verse 4. And I saw the thrones and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of Yahweh, which had not worshipped the beast. We do not worship the beast, neither his image. But they are. Now, am I saying that? Could there be some that may come out of that? No, I'm not saying that, because there could be some that come out of that, that are of Israel, that are of the elect, that wake up, that are in that crowd right now. But right now, they're all worshiping the image of the beast in the Middle East, to the point where they called it the Middle Beast. Man, seriously, man, you got to think about that, boy. They called it the Middle Beast. That's what the rave is actually called in the most conservative country in the world. So it says, we'll go back to it. And it says, I saw the thrones of them that sat upon them, with judgments given unto them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua. We always speak about, some of us are going to die in this truth, for the witness of Yahushua, which means the testimony of our Lord and Savior, and for the word of Yahweh, the scriptures, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark, his charagma, upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Yahushua 1,000 years. So, I mean, I can't make it, I can't say anything else. It's arrived in Saudi Arabia. It's officially, the beast has officially arrived in Saudi Arabia. They're in there, raving in the desert, 5-day rave. Homosexuals are there, lesbians are there, transgenders are there, in the most conservative country in the world. They're taking drugs, everything. She made it quite clear in the interview. She goes that they were inebriated, they were drunk, drugs, smoking, popping pills. She said queers were welcomed, homosexuals were welcomed. Saudi Arabia, family. Saudi Arabia. Seriously, I mean, it's beautiful to see, because in a sense, that's the last stronghold for Esau. That's the last stronghold. If Esau can get his beast system in Saudi fully loaded, like I said, they are using part of the beast system because, you know, they use part of Esau's financial institutions, which is part of the beast system. But this is kind of like the nucleus of their system. Is this Sodom and Gomorrah atmosphere? Is this love for homosexuality? Is this love for the drugs that they want to give you? All of these things. So that's where they're at. And I say again, I give all praise and the glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, because we see this now and we understand, believe me. The Lord is, I can feel it. I can feel it on the tip of my tongue. The Lord is nearly here, literally at the door, knocking at the door. So this is no time to drop off. for those of us that are in the truth, those of us that are woken up, the men of Israel. Shalom to my fellow brothers from Great Millstone. Shalom to Amawada Bud, GMS Hawaii. Shalom, brother. Shalom to GMS Facts Works 144. All ploughing the fields. Shalom Banyam Yam 144. All ploughing the fields in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Brothers that can see what's going on. We just got to hold on to this truth, because this is not a time to waver. Not a time to waver. Saudi Arabia is fully on board with the beast system. Fully on board. Because I didn't think I'd ever see this in Saudi Arabia. This is a place where they supposedly behead people if they are homosexual, transgender, or against that. The fact that they're keeping a rave like that in the desert where the Bedouins are, where anything goes, and they called it the Middle Beast. All praises to Yahweh Shem Shai. So anyway, that's all I really want to speak about. I just really wanted to just bring that to the front. Everyone can see and know. If the brothers want to do an edification video on it themselves, review it. It's a 5-minute video, boy. There's a lot in it when you watch it, boy. And you know, it's all there for you to see. So I say again, I'm give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, who are leading this word in truth and spirit and sincerity. Salutations to my fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers out there that are plowing the fields in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, and to the hopeful elect of the house of Israel. Shalom, brothers and sisters. As I always say, keep praying. Hold on to your faith. Don't let this man distract you or take this away, boy. This truth that we have. All praises to the Akiyams out there. All praises. Shalom, shalom, shalom. And keep safe. Shalom, brothers and sisters. All praises.